Hello everyone, it's time for us to go and compare the Samsung Galaxy S24 and compare it against the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE and see which particular device is the better one for you. Now, I will definitely tell you, both these devices are fairly different. The S21 FE is actually very surprising to me how good of a job it's probably going to hold up for the next couple of years. But if you want to pick up a phone I would recommend buying this year, you can pick up the S24 and some other phones linked down in the description below. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these devices, the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE on the front has a 6.4-inch dynamic AMOLED display. It's a 1080p panel, and overall, it still looks pretty good. It gets 120 Hz, 20 Hz of brightness, and it gets 120 Hz of refresh rate, which is really nice, and that's something I like a lot about these types of phones. The S20 FE also had it, and the S21 FE, I will say, still looks actually fairly good on the front. I think the S21 FE looks better than the Galaxy S23 FE that Samsung just made, and this phone came out back in 2022. Fairly thin bezels around this phone as well, and I definitely do think Samsung did a really good job with this particular phone on the, at least on the front side. With the Galaxy S24, you are getting a 6.2-inch dynamic LTPO AMOLED display. So there's a few things going on here. One, it's a little bit of a smaller panel, same resolution, so 1080p. It also gets 120 Hz, which is very nice, but this panel gets much brighter than the Galaxy S21 FE. The S24 gets 2600 nits of brightness. That's a crazy thing going on for that phone, and that is easily one of my most favorite things going on for that particular device. Getting a phone like that gets that bright is so crazy to me, and I'm a massive fan of the fact that Samsung doing a massive, brightness in that particular phone. So that definitely gets a thumbs up for me without a doubt. Both of them have USB Type-C ports on the bottom, which is great. The S24 is more of a flat-sided phone. The S21 FE is kind of like flat and curved. It's kind of like hard to describe, but the S24 definitely feels more premium in the hand, especially when we get to the back side. The S21 FE has a frosted plastic back, which I don't really get why Samsung did this at this time. I still feel like they could have put a regular glass back on this thing. They didn't even have to put a frosted back, but at least a glass back would have been a little bit better. The Galaxy S24 has a frosted glass back, so it's definitely much better feeling on that particular device. Again, it was a very weird thing I think Samsung did at this moment. Kind of get it though, like I do get it in some ways, but I think the Galaxy S24 definitely feels a lot more premium in the hand, without a doubt. The S21 FE, triple camera setup, S24, triple camera setup, you're getting wireless charging and reverse wireless charging, which is a very nice touch to have. And overall on the outside, I would definitely say both phones look very good. They both look very good. They feel very good as well. I don't really have that much to complain about here for the most part with either one of these devices, but I will say the Galaxy S21 FE, with it having that plastic back, is probably one of the bigger, turn-offs for me personally. But beyond that, I think I get where they were coming from. This was supposed to be a cheap phone, and I think I kind of get it when it kind of comes down to that perspective. So from that perspective alone, I would definitely tell you that kind of covers it up there. From a pricing strategy standpoint, this is another interesting thing going on here. The Samsung Galaxy S21 FE is pretty much like $190 on Amazon. The S24 is $800. So the fact that the S21 FE is like a fourth of the price of the S24 is insane to me. Is it a fourth of a phone? Not really. I don't think it's a fourth of a phone. I think it's a pretty good phone, but it's not a fourth of a phone like the S21, like the S24. So I think it's pretty crazy that that type of device is giving you that type of capability at that price tag. The S24 is substantially more expensive, which it should be, but the S21 FE, for it being that cheap, is actually pretty insane to me, to be completely honest. So that covers it up there. Now, the camera side of things is also very interesting. The S21 FE has a 12 megapixel wide angle lens, 8 megapixel telephoto lens, and then a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, where the Samsung Galaxy S24 has a 50 megapixel wide angle lens, 10 megapixel telephoto lens, and then a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. Both can do 4K at 60 on the front and the back, which is a very cool thing to have. I love being able to film in those types of resolutions, but the Galaxy S24 can actually go up to 8K capability. Again, that is a very cool thing to have inside of that phone, and actually the Galaxy S21 FE does not have that type of capability. It cannot film in, 8K. So is that a massive, problem? I really wouldn't think so. I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world, but it is a nice thing to have a phone like the Galaxy S21, like the Galaxy S24, that can actually film in a little bit better resolution. Now with the FE, I think this camera is still great. Like I said, I don't really have too much to complain about here, and I think for the most part, if you're going to go ahead and buy a phone, I think it's a pretty good device. It can really do majority of things you probably throw at it, but the thing is in some social media applications, you're probably going to be getting a better experience in the Galaxy S24. This is the one thing that we've seen that Samsung has kind of of thrown at us in this particular keynote, they did actually mention to us that for the most part, with the Samsung Galaxy S24, this is linked a little bit better for the most part in social media applications. So if you're going on TikTok and Instagram and all those ones, you're probably going to have a better experience inside of the Samsung Galaxy S24 than from something like the S21 FE. So take that as you will, but that's probably one thing to keep in mind. You are overall going to be getting a better camera experience on the Samsung Galaxy S24 than from the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE. So that kind of covers it up there. Now, in terms of the software and longevity, this was also one of the problems I would say with the S21 FE. This, device still good, still supported. Very few things to kind of complain about here from from a software longevity standpoint, but the S21 FE is probably going to last as long as the Galaxy S21. Now the S21 is not going to last, an insane amount of time. It's going to be supported for, some time here and there, but it's not going to be supported for as long as you'd probably think. And that is kind of the problem that you're getting with something like the, Galaxy S21 FE. It's going to be supported for maybe like another year or two, and that might be it. And that's kind of a sad thing going on for that particular device. Versus the Samsung Galaxy S24, this device is going to be supported for 7+ years. This is a very big asset for this type of device. And personally for me, once again, when I'm going through and I'm getting a device, I want it to be I want it to have a long support and ahead of it. I don't want to go and buy a phone and already have it kind of outdated with software or it's about to be outdated. And that's exactly what's not going on with the Galaxy S24. The S24 is going to be supported for many years, and that's something I love about that phone. I can talk about this all day, to be honest. From a performance side, the S21 FE had that Snapdragon 888 chipset inside with 6 or 8 gigs of RAM. Now, the ones I had 6 and it was honestly fine. The S24 had that Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset inside with 8 or 12 gigabytes of RAM. So we can go up to 12 gigs and have twice as amount of RAM as the base model of the S21 FE. But even then, you can get the 8 gig of RAM option and still see a pretty big difference in performance. This is what I'll tell you. The 888 chipset is nothing to sleep on. It is still a very good chipset that the S21 FE has, and for basic apps and everything, it's going to be fine. But for more intensive stuff, like playing intensive games like Genshin Impact, or if you're, going on TikTok and split screen multitasking a lot of different things, or taking phone calls while doing other things, you're going to have a really good time with this phone. But if you want the best experience you can probably get on a mobile device, the Samsung Galaxy S24 is probably the best way to go in a lot of different ways. This phone's chipset is much faster. I don't know, I've already done some speed tests. It is a faster phone, but I think once you get the games loaded, I really don't think it's that slow of a device, to be completely honest. I think the Galaxy S24 is a very fast phone, has a ton of capability, a ton of quality, and it is the faster phone in the S24, but the FE is still actually not that bad of a performing device, which is actually pretty insane to me too. So I think battery life as well. I think the S21 FE's battery life probably is a little bit, tiny bit better than the S24's, but that's only, I think, temporary. I think the S24 is probably going to be better once it gets optimized. But I'll tell you right now, I think the S21 FE is a better value per dollar. Although it has a plastic back and an older chipset and it's going to be unsupported probably in the next 2 years, I think this is a phone that if you want to buy a phone and have it for a year or two, it's a very decent device. It doesn't get that much better from a pricing standpoint, and that's something I love a lot about this device. I think the Galaxy S24 is probably the best phone you can buy this year, and I don't really know why. If you have the money, you might as well just go and get this device more than any other device, to be completely honest. But I love the S24. I think it's an excellent phone, and that is the one I'd recommend if you have all the money. If you want to save some money, definitely get the S21 FE. I think it's a pretty decent device for sure. So that pretty much covers it up here. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that will mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.